standing around trying to figure out what they're going to do next. So it's really been a bit of an unusual day in Tokyo as people try to sort of gather their thoughts and try to remain calm and try to respond in a calm manner. We want to make clear the situation in Tokyo is vastly different than what's happening up north. Up north is the impact of the tsunami. It is the immediate emergency, trying to rescue people out of that region, trying to collect the lives there, trying to make sure that people are okay and try to respond to that initial emergency. Here in Tokyo, because we have such a dense population base, we have 13 million people here in this city, and if you don't have effective public transit, you really are going to have a serious problem. But people, for the most part, are behaving very calmly. A lot of the buildings have been evacuated. We're the only people left in this particular building. And at this point, it's even a commute home, but there's no easy way to get home now.
Yeah, and Kang-la, you mentioned something earlier that when the rail line stops, that's when people, certainly in Tokyo, know that this is a serious situation because they are used to earthquakes all of the time. But once the railways stop, that's a different story, isn't it?
Once the railways stop and then they announce that they will be shut down for a while, that is extraordinary. This is a country where if your train is maybe 10 or 15 seconds late, you start to question it. You start to wonder what's wrong. So when a rail line, and there's an extensive rail system here in Japan, when it's completely shut down, that signals that there is a national emergency going on, and certainly that's what Japan is experiencing right now.
And as you mentioned too, it is very difficult to confirm information in a situation like this. It's ongoing. This is not over yet. People are still waiting for more waves, more tsunamis there in Japan and right across the Pacific Rim. But we were hearing information a little earlier about confirmed deaths, 8 confirmed deaths. But unfortunately, I mean, that number will rise in this sort of situation.
I can tell you from listening to just the various national newscasts here, many people are saying that the number is much higher. We have not been able to confirm any numbers, but certainly when we're talking about a magnitude, an earthquake of this magnitude, an impact region that is so wide, we're expecting that there could be a rise in those initial numbers.
And of course, the witness reports we've received from people there in Tokyo, as you point out, and as they pointed out too, a very different situation for people in Tokyo. It's a very sturdily built city, 13 million people, as you said, and for those people, they're very calm. But of course, it's along the coastal areas because of these ongoing tsunamis where the danger is. And what sort of mechanisms are in place for people when those waves do come ashore?
Japan is built with an emergency broadcasting system, and as soon as there is a tsunami warning or alert issued, there is an immediate bulletin issued, whether it be via mobile phone, television, radio. This is one of the most plugged-in countries in the world. There is vast wireless access. Almost every single person you meet has a wireless phone. So if that alert goes out, it is a message that is received. And this country prides itself on getting the word out very quickly. The problem that we have here is because we're talking about such a large tsunami, such a large earthquake, it's very difficult to respond to a very large emergency like that. So the country can try to be as prepared as possible, but you can't prepare for everything. I can tell you from being along the coastline that when you stand on the coastline, something that you notice in Japan is that there are actually gates built into the concrete. There are not the wide, sandy beaches that you might expect in an island. There are huge concrete walls. There are concrete gates